guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Salaf and I love all things home decor and DIY. Today I'm going to be sharing 2 or maybe 3 more of my DIYs with you. One of them is a pendant which is super simple to make, but it looks really cute if you're into woven raffia type of pendants. Other one, I was actually inspired by those cane webbing rolls, you know, where you can buy them like a sheet of woven material. And then you can use that to make whatever you want. You have so much flexibility when you have a sheet, and you can turn it into whatever you want. To try and make something similar to that, not necessarily cane, but a woven sheet type of material. So let's just get into it. So for my first DIY, I actually started with this wooden frame that I already had. You could use an old picture frame or something similar. And my frame already had nails all around it, about 2 centimeters apart. But for this project, I needed them to be about 1 centimeter apart. So I just grabbed some more nail and just added a nail in between each two. Then I grabbed a roll of raffia that I had. Raffia is this papery type of material that you can find on Amazon, I believe. I tied my raffia to the second nail, dragged it to the other side of the frame, put it behind the nail that was across from the first one, and then came back to the first nail. I just wrapped it around the first nail, moved to the second one, then repeated the same thing. Kept on going back and forth between my nails until I reached the other side of my frame. When I reached the other side, I actually added a needle so it would be easier for me to go through the previous raffia. I put my raffia behind the second nail, and as you can see, using my needle, I'm going over one, under one, and again over one, under one. I think this is a bit hard to see at first because our previous rows of raffia are very close to each other, but you'll be able to see later how it looks. You just want to go over one, under one, and just keep the same order. When I reached the other side of my frame, I actually moved to the next nail and kind of just put my raffia behind the next one. And this time we're going in the opposite direction. Whenever we went over the previous row, we're gonna go under this time. And whenever we went under previous row, this time we're gonna go over. This way we get this woven effect, and I think you can see it better here. Each time you reach one side of the frame, you just want to put your raffia behind the next nail and kind of just create a little bit of a distance and separation, and just weave in between your previous raffia. When I was done with the whole weaving, I just mixed some PVA glue with some water, and as you can see, I made this super runny mixture and I brushed it all over my weaving. You don't want to have any empty spots. You want to cover your whole weaving. This is going to ensure that your weaving isn't gonna fall apart once you get it out of the frame. But you also don't want to have like a ton of buildup of this glue water mixture. It's just gonna show if you have too much of it. So I just made sure to keep on brushing until I didn't have like too much of the mixture in any spots. Just let it dry, and this is my weaving dry now. You can see I'm using this tiny eyebrow scissor to just cut them and just get my weaving out of my frame. And this is my tiny little sheet of woven material. For the second project, I actually wanted to use the woven sheet that I had created and make like a little vase or candle holder, something like that. I decided it was just too easy and I wanted to make something different. So I found this little canister, measured the height, and I marked it on my sheet. Then I just cut that. I keep calling it a canister, but I feel like this is kind of like a ring dish type of thing. Yeah, then I used some super glue and just attached my webbing woven sheet. I was so sad when I realized my weaving didn't cover the whole thing, but I figured I could deal with that later. Then I grabbed the lid of the canister and again just cut. I glued that little piece to the top of the lid, but the sides were still empty and I wanted to kind of cover that and make it look more finished. So I measured that as well, and I grabbed some leftover faux leather that I had and I measured it, but I made sure to add about 1 centimeter extra, and you'll see later why I did that. I again grabbed my super glue, glued my piece of leather to the lid, to the sides of my lid, but as you can see here, I put the extras towards the top of the lid, if that makes sense. Then I grabbed my little scissor again and I started making tiny little cuts all around the leather, adding some glue, gluing the pieces to the top of the lid. This way it would cover the edges of the weaving, and because the leather had little cuts, the pieces of the leather could kind of just overlap, if that makes sense. And I felt like this helped finish it off better. And at first I wasn't sure about the leather, but when I kept going, I feel like it looked cute. For the back part, I just cut a small piece and again glued it on top of the empty area. And yeah, my little ring dish canister was done. For the last project, which is the pendant, I had this metal frame. You can find metal frames on Amazon, and I had these two raffia colors rolls. I started by tying my black raffia to the top side of my metal frame. I realized this is super hard to understand what I'm doing and see. This video was actually filmed a while ago for my Instagram and I didn't think I would start a YouTube channel back then. So I used to film everything vertically. And I know this is probably hard to understand and see, but I really wanted to share it with you guys because it's just super simple to make. I'm just wrapping my raffia around that little section that was at the top of the frame, and then there was another small section just like this one at the bottom as well. I covered that one with the black raffia as well, and then grabbed my brown raffia and started covering my middle section. That was the largest one with brown raffia. And all I'm doing is just going back and forth, wrapping my raffia around my frame. Whenever I tied a knot or whenever I ran out of my raffia and I had to add new pieces, I just tried to make the knots towards the inside of the frame and kind of just hide the extra pieces of raffia in between the rows and like underneath the raffia to have a cleaner finish. and then I just wrapped all the metal pieces that were showing with more raffia, and again I would just tie a knot and just wrap my raffia on top of the extra piece, to just cover all the knots, all the extra pieces, and just have a clean finished result. So I know the last DIY was kind of just all over the place, but like I said before, I filmed it a while ago when I didn't have any plans to start a YouTube channel. But now that I do have my channel, I really wanted to share it with you guys. If you like this type of content, please let me know. Thumbs up this video, subscribe to the channel. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's DIYs, and I hope to see you again. Bye!